back Dr. Glenn Wilkerson. Again, he's from the ARK group, or the ARC group. And Glenn, you were starting to talk a little bit before about parenting, and if you actually have programming that you offer for parents, can you talk a little bit about that?
You bet. My organization, the ARC group, has developed an online program. Used to be on campus, but with COVID, we developed it as an online program, and it's called the Parent Engagement Program, PEP. You know, here in Texas, that every campus has to have a parent improvement program. So ours is called the Parent Engagement Program, PEP, and basically it's an SEL program for parents, social emotional learning. Now, most schools across the nation are emphasizing SEL practices being taught to the teachers, how to show care for teachers to show care to the students and help the students take responsibility for the behavior. And so often when teachers are working really hard at developing relationships with kids and helping kids feel valued, when they return home, it's a different environment. And so we've developed the PEP program as an SEL program for parents, helping parents to embrace the same SEL practices that teachers are employing at school. And basically there are three components. We help parents learn how to, working with kids, help them to develop the ability to do a self-assessment, to engage in self-control, and then how to develop relationships with other people. Now, the self-assessment part, if a kid is dealing with, first, let me begin by saying, the basic SEL tool is unconditional love for parents and teachers to allow kids to know, whatever you do, I'm going to love you no matter what. That's the first SEL concept. But then these two SEL tools, self-assessment. If a child is undergoing a really difficult emotion, whether it's fear or anger, to ask questions, to say, Johnny, you act like you're kind of angry now. Is that right? Yes, Dad, I really am. I'm really ticked off. Well, say a little more about it. Well, you know, Doreen has borrowed my car. You know, here I am, a senior in high school, and got this nice car, and she's just a sophomore and just got her license, and she took it today without even asking me, and I'm really ticked off about it. Well, through asking questions, we have helped Johnny to identify the emotion. That's self-assessment. Then the second part is self-control. Well, Johnny, I understand you'd be mad. I understand that. Now, what do you think you want to do with that feeling? Well, I'd like to just slap her silly, Dad. Well, that's one option. What else can you think of? Well, I'll just tell her she can't ever use my car for this next year. Well, that's another option. Think of anything else? Yeah, you know, maybe there's some sort of emergency and she needed to take it without asking me. I'll talk with her about it and we'll work something out. Now, that's self-control. And those self-assessment and self-control are brought about by my asking the child questions about the emotion and then asking them what they want to do about it. And that way, the feeling can be handled in a way where the child is in control of it. Now, the third aspect of SEL training is relationships. And that's where we help children to understand that there are just a couple of basic things that if you do, you're going to be good at relating to people. One of them is to be a good listener. You know, so often we feel like we go into a room, we want to be the center of attention, so we have to come up with funny stories, and that's not the way it works. If you watch people over a period of time interact with others, the ones that are regarded as the best conversationalists are the ones who are good listeners. They're not telling what they, you know, sharing all the stuff they know. They'll share it if asked, but they're concentrating on what the other person is saying and asking what the other person is doing, what's important to them, and then listening and then responding to whatever the other person is saying. That's really critical. The best conversationalists are ones who are good listeners. If we can teach our kids to listen well, other people love to visit with them because everybody likes to talk about themselves. And the second thing, SEL tool, as far as relationship is concerned, is empathy. Oprah has a saying that whenever she encounters people that are very difficult, she thinks to herself, what happened? Because usually there's always some other thing that's been going on prior to the conversation that the other person is carrying into the conversation with us that makes them edgy or mean-tempered or rude. And so to think to ourselves, I wonder what happened to Johnny that made him be so rude in his conversation with, in talking with me. That gift of empathy, where we can, rather than just reacting angrily, if Johnny is rude to me, then I'm rude back, instead to think, wonder what happened to Johnny that made him react like that with me. I'm catching somebody else's mail. And before I reply to the other person's rudeness, to think what happened to them helps to me to temper my response in a way where instead of firing back angrily, I can say something like, you're kind of having a tough time today, aren't you? Or something like that. So being a good listener and exercising the gifts of empathy are two tools we can teach kids that will help them to relate to others better. So the 4 tools: unconditionally love the child, ask questions to help a child assess trouble and emotion, ask questions, helping the child to discover or to think about how do I want to react to that emotion, to my emotion, to my fear, my anger in a rational way. And then fourthly, how can I be a good conversationalist? And then again, listening and also exercising that gift of empathy. I wonder what happened to the other person that made them react the way in which they do. And they react to their rudeness in a manner that exudes kindness and understanding. That's SEL in a nutshell. And it's what we're trying to, our PEP program, we're doing it through the schools. The schools have have to have a parent engagement, have a parent involvement program. We're inviting schools to embrace our PEP program as their parent involvement program, parent engagement. And then we have a system whereby they emails online, they share that program with the parents for the PEP program.
That sounds amazing. What grade level does that include? Does it start early, like from toddler up?
Babies through early adulthood.
Okay, that's awesome.
In schools, kindergarten through the 12th grade. We're working on relationships between the parent and the child. And those same principles are operant no matter the age of the child.
I'm envisioning how much work that was, first of all, to put together, but then also just, like I said before, that generational impact. And I love that it's not just through the school. I think sometimes parents feel that their hands are kind of tied because maybe the child's main problems are at school, and at home they come home and they're fine, or vice versa, they're great at school and they come home and they're a wreck. And I just think it's great to have both options there.
Well, it's good to get parents and teachers on the same page. And our program is an online program. The principals will send out emails to the parents, inviting them to participate in the PEP program. And we'll give them an enrollment key, and then they get online, and there's an introduction, and there's 7 lessons that they take online, and there's quizzes, and at the end of it, they get a state-approved certificate of completion. So the role of the school is to get the parents to enroll in the PEP program. And then it's self-explanatory from there.
So really, in theory, anybody could do it.
And again, oh yeah, any parent can do it. It's very simple. They watch a 10-minute video, and then there's discussion questions and quizzes that they take, and to help incorporate the lesson into their psyche. And it's really important what you said earlier, and last time we talked, well, a few minutes ago, that parents and teachers, if we can get them on the same page where they're doing the SEL practices, helping kids to take responsibility for their own emotions, giving them some tools for relating to other people, and basically helping them to feel good about themselves, to feel unconditionally loved and valued. You know, the latest research, Dori, shows that there's a difference between emotional health and mental health. Mental health there's something wrong with the chemicals in the brain, that they're out of kilter. And it's manifested in conditions like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or clinical depression. Emotional health, on the other hand, is a matter of feeling loved and wanted. The University of Southern Illinois Medical School did a study of 57 school shootings and discovered that only 17% of them were perpetrated by kids or young people who were mentally ill, but they were all desperately emotionally ill. They felt unloved and unwanted. That's the cause or the primary cause of school violence. Kids feeling unloved and unwanted. At home, they are neglected or abused. They take those feelings of low self-esteem to school and allow themselves to be bullied. And some kids, a small percentage, thank goodness, react to that by taking a gun to school and making society pay. So at home and at school, it's so critical that we be intentional about giving unconditional love to kids so that they feel loved and wanted. Because kids who feel loved, wanted, and respected, they don't shoot up schools.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true, Glenn. Thank you. Thank you for that. I just love your program. I love what you're doing with it. I love the connection between the teachers and the parents and the fact that anybody can do it. And I'm going to include some links in the email that's coming up. And that way people can find out more about your program, about you, about just everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you. I'd sure welcome that, Dori.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time today. It was great talking to you. And
it's always good being with you, Dori, and I really appreciate the intentionality you're showing in helping parents to become even better at the most difficult job in the world. And so this show and the work that you're doing, the things you're writing, tip of the hat to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.